Hello, Collateral Gaming listeners. Chazzle Dazzle here from the Trial by Error Variety Show podcast. I just wanted to take a few seconds to invite you guys over to what we do. No, it's not video games, but we do invite really awesome and unique bands from all over the world. We dig deep into their souls and find really cool stories to tell you, and there's tons of music every week, so subscribe to us wherever you subscribe to your podcast. We look forward to having you.
Tonight on the bonus round, we're covering E3 2021. So don't go anywhere. The show starts right now. Welcome to Collateral Gaming bonus round. I'm Ashley Chancellor.
I'm Zachary Yeo.
I'm Megan Gomez.
And I'm Dan Rockwood.
And we are podcasting from a few different places, actually. It doesn't matter. Yes, my friends, we are a 420 friendly podcast. So whatever you have, smoke it if you've got it. Awesome to have you again here on the show, Dan.
It is awesome to be here. I've been really looking forward to this episode specifically. E3 is my favorite week of the year. I love Nintendo. I love everything that goes on around it. And I couldn't wait to come on and break this down and talk with you guys about it.
Oh,
Thank you so much for being here. We love you so much. We're always like, when's Dan coming on next?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And this is the beauty of the internet, because I've never met any of you, and you're already like some of my best like online friends, and it's the best thing.
My Deadpool part.
Okay, so I think everybody in here can pretty much agree with me that E3 is basically Christmas for gamers.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I take off of work every year.
But
I
it's
did
like,
this year, but
it's like pre-Christmas. It's like I wouldn't know. Some people exchange gifts at Thanksgiving. I've seen it happen. So it's like Thanksgiving.
Yeah, definitely E3 is like, what am I buying my kids for Christmas this year? Like, that is all parents' ideas. Absolutely. I know that's going to be mine, for sure.
And this year, we got some spicy stuff.
I'm excited. Just the one first showcase alone, I was blown away. And I'm so excited that E3 made a really big comeback and came back with a fucking punch. Yes. We didn't get it last year. So all of these devs have been sitting at home just hanging out, chilling. So I think it's going to, be a really good year, next year too, for all of the stuff that they've been able to, catch up on this year going back into office. So I'm so stoked to talk about it.
And what do we know? We're going to be geeking out about Nintendo again together, the four of us. So
yes. It could be a trend. I don't know here.
Because Nintendo's the best. So we don't have to pretendo when we talk about Nintendo. It's a Nintendo. Like, what even is... All right.
Yeah, Nintendo honestly stole the show, but before we get into that, because I know we're all super excited to talk about it, and we may spend half the podcast just talking about the Nintendo Direct alone, wanted to get into some of the other, cover some of the other announcements. I mean, starting with day one, what stood out to you guys?
Oh God, everything. I was writing notes like freaking crazy. So I mean, for one, let's just talk about the fact that freaking Ubisoft came to fucking play. Can we just talk about Far Cry for a second?
Did they come to you play?
Freaking Ubisoft, man. They really, in the past couple years, except last year, because we didn't have E3. In the past couple years, they've been kind of just hanging out in the background. They've been holding on to this freaking Rainbow Six Siege for a while, especially Far Cry 5 as well. I, for one, am very, very excited for Far Cry 6. I've played all the Far Cry games. I love them. There is something just about Far Cry where you can't forget these villains. And I'm so freaking stoked that you get to go into the mind of previous villains and go into basically their manic. I am so stoked for this mode because, you don't get to see it from the villain's perspective. And now you do, and you get to see why they are as crazy as they are. And I'm so freaking stoked for that. And also, I'm not really big on Siege and Rainbow Six too much, but I actually am. I'm going to pick up a copy of Extraction because this looks phenomenal. The gameplay is looking really good from what I've seen from cuts in the showcase. And Ubisoft is really hyping it up. So I'm really hoping, that a lot of gamers get to shift over to this because I know that, Rainbow Six is a little bit less toxic than COD. So,
Uh,
Oh no, we lost
we
Megan.
lost Megan. Oh no.
Oh,
Oh, that's terrible. Okay.
she was so excited too.
I know. Oh well, hopefully she'll jump on in a second.
yeah. I was just saying, how a lot of COD players, they're really, really toxic. The Rainbow Six players really aren't. They're, it's a good environment to move to. And then also, Rocksmith looks kind of good. I might learn how to play guitar. I don't know. They kind of captivated me with it. And also, can we talk about Avatar? Yes.
Yeah, we
Yes.
can.
Yes.
Oh,
I'm so excited. So that was just my notes personally for Ubisoft. They really kicked it out of the park for me.
Yeah, and also Mario plus Rabbids sequel. I have the first game. It's actually a really interesting idea. The gameplay is a lot of fun, so I'm happy to see that they're continuing that sequel. With Giancarlo Esposito appearing in Far Cry 6.
Yeah.
I thought that was a captivating performance just from that trailer. He's a fantastic actor. Love his work. Love his performance in The Mandalorian. Huh?
He's in The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, he's also like the best bad guy on the planet in Breaking Bad. Let's not forget.
Yeah, I mean,
One of the greatest shows of all time to ever
he's
come
done some
across.
really good work. So I'm very, very excited to see his mocap and see him as a antagonist because he's already done some strong work and he's shown that he can be the guy that you can hate to love. So Far Cry gets better and better with every game. Also, can we talk about freaking Chorizo, the little dog? I love it so much. He's a little dog in a wheelchair.
Yeah, even with day one, there was a lot of. I was unfortunately working during actually all 3 days of E3, but I was trying to keep up, between calls with what announcements were being made, and I
Yeah.
remember you hitting the group chat with a bunch of exciting news, and I thought Ubisoft actually did a good job, and I mean, considering they're Ubisoft.
Yeah, no, they really look like they're trying hard and they've been working on some good stuff in the last year. So good job, Ubisoft. Y'all are doing really, really good.
What about you, Dan? Anything stick out to you from day one?
yeah. I mean, with that conference specifically, the Avatar game definitely stuck out, and I think it's really great timing too, where we are on the cusp of getting like an Avatar movie every other year for the next decade. So to open up with this, what looks to be this really gorgeous, amazing game is going to be a really cool tie-in. And I'm hoping that this will be an ongoing thing where they update. So depending on what's going on in the future films, it would be nice to be able to update with different areas, different
Ooh.
DLC, preferably
Absolutely.
free. But if paid, I understand.
And
it's
I
a
also noticed
business.
the plants in that. Does anybody else notice that it looks a lot like Horizon Zero Dawn? If they're using Gorilla as an underdeveloper, yes, please. Yes, please.
Oh,
Let's do it. Sold.
absolutely. It has a lot of potential to be just a really kick-ass game. So that was a huge highlight. And I want to say with Ubisoft specifically, it's just a funny juxtaposition where it felt like they had so much, and then you compare them to like the Capcom presentation, which had like nothing in my opinion, or very
Yeah.
little. And so it's just funny seeing how this E3 really gave you just like the varied ends of the spectrum with what a company can show.
Really did, and it showed who has been busting their ass in the last year and who really took the time to just, no, we're gonna work on this game. No, we're gonna, there's no really big announcements right now. Okay, that's cool.
In Capcom's defense, they did launch Resident Evil Village last month, so I'll give them a
Yeah.
pass. But
Yeah,
and that's I mean,
true.
honestly, that's one of the downsides of E3 is companies might feel pressured to show up even if they don't have something to announce.
Looking at you,
but-
Bethesda, with that freaking picture in 2019 or 2020.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Just a picture. That's all we got for you. You
Did
fucking
they announce
bitches.
some Village DLC?
Dude, Village is phenomenal.
It's a good game.
I don't even blame
hell yeah.
Capcom. You know what? Let them do their thing, bro. Resident Evil Village is astonishing. Just as
No, they did really good on that.
they did. Lady Dimitrescu is going to be my wife.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, popped the
Amazing.
question last night, and then
Surprise.
she clawed me. It was a good time.
Big titty goth vampire lady mommy. Yes.
and apparently I believe it's been announced recently, so Resident Evil Village was in development around the time that Resident Evil 7 launched in 2017. So I imagine Resident Evil 9 is already underway and in development, and we'll see that hopefully within the next few years. And
It's like already done.
it very well might be. But we're going to see, I mean, with the game tying up, and we won't go into Resident Evil Village spoilers, but it's, the universe is set for future games. And so I think it makes sense for Capcom to be focusing on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, a lot of developers, I mean, there may not be anything to show yet. I liked that tongue-in-cheek Outer Worlds 2 trailer where they actually mentioned that. They were like, yeah, we don't actually have any gameplay that's worth showing, but...
We promise we're working on it.
It reminded me
they
of
were
like
there.
a car commercial from the early 2000s where it was just commenting on the cliches of car commercials, like over the top, like orchestrated music and like an overly confident narrator, and then it was like, and then a random shot of like someone like on a big background like at the Grand Canyon for no apparent reason, and I can't remember what vehicle that commercial was for, but I remember it. And the Outer Worlds had that level of like just like the meta trailer of this is all we have to show you right now.
Yeah, it was meta and it was funny. That Avatar game looks dope, by the way. I love that you brought that up because we've been waiting for a movie sequel for several years now. It's about time that this finally comes out. But
also James Cameron is very careful and he takes his time, and it shows in his work. Like there's some movies that take 4 or 5 years for development and they're still box office hits. So the fact that he's branching out into the video game world is very, very interesting to me, and I'm very, very intrigued because movies, you have, your green screens, you have your live actors, you do have some motion capture, but it's completely different bringing it into the element of a game. So I'm really, really wondering where he's going to go with this, because I know he's in on it. He owns the entire Avatar franchise. And I just want to see, what we're going to do, if we're going to have main characters in here, are we going to say Jake Sully, or are we going to, like what's going to go forward with this?
The movie tie-in that came around the time of Avatar, I remember actually playing it on the Wii and on the DS, actually focused on a story that was not having to do with the main characters from Avatar at all. It was just focusing on I think it was like a prequel. I remember my brother and sister were playing those games and they were pretty all right, but this looks like an actual quality game. This isn't just like a milking the budget to tie in with a movie. This is like its own project set within that universe. And so that's actually very exciting. Also, we finally got a trailer for Elden Ring. That was cool.
I've never been a huge Elder Scrolls fan,
but it's not about Elder Scrolls. It's Elden Ring.
Ah, my bad. I misheard that. Everybody, please don't crucify me. I heard and then that's it.
We got a release date. We got some gameplay footage. Elden Ring is a project that has been in development for a long time. It's one of the most anticipated games. And we've not really seen anything about this game for a long time. So for those of you who don't know, it is a collaboration between Hidetaka Miyazaki and George R.R. Martin.
Yes. Dude, Bandai. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I love Bandai Namco. I love most of the titles that they produce. They're always really well thought out and well put together. And I don't think I've ever had a bad experience with one of their. I don't know if I'd be too typically interested into this, but it's Bandai Namco, so I might as well give it a shot.
All right, guys. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, y'all. I was only able to come on for part of the podcast. My dog does have a pretty bad viral infection, and she is having it come out of both ends. So I do have to leave the podcast a little bit early.
Oh, no.
I'm so sorry. I do have to go.
Okay.
But I will see you guys in the next episode.
Yes, you will. Take care of her. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, any other non-Nintendo highlights for you guys that just really piqued your interest from day one or day two or day three?
Honestly, no. The only thing I was looking for at E3 this year was Nintendo stuff because usually I play Call of Duty or never mind. Battlefield 2042.
Yeah, you mentioned that before.
That
we
game
recorded.
is going to be fire. I love Battlefield. I've always loved Battlefield, and this game looks like it's just beyond the cusp of Battlefield. You know, I mean, okay, so it's going to come out this year, October 22nd, and I mean, it's based in 2042. It's a futuristic Battlefield. I don't think we've had that yet. Most the Battlefields have been modern. Battlefield 4, I feel like, was modern age. Battlefield 2, I feel like, was around like 2001, that area. I feel like Battlefield 2, Bad Company, sorry, was around like 2001. And then Battlefield 1 was a World War I game. And so this one is the first actual Battlefield title that's kind of propelling into the future. And I'm excited to see what they do with that. As long as they don't go Black Ops 3 route with the jetpacks, I'll be all right. So that's about all I have on that. But I will be looking forward to sniping on that game because that's when I play first-person shooters, that is all I do is snipe. And Battlefield sniping is unlike anything else. It's so much fun. And there's a cat on your lap, Dan. That's awesome.
That is Finn, named, of course, for Finn in the Star Wars sequel films. Likes hanging out with me while I podcast.
You know, it's funny. You said Finn, and I thought Adventure Time for some reason. But
I thought Phineas and Ferb. So
that all of those are great. Like, you can't go wrong with that name at this point.
Exactly.
You know, it's funny when Ash texted me at like 2:00. I was like, "Hey, I know what I'm gonna do today."
Yeah,
Sorry.
that Battlefield 2042 trailer looks sick. Also, Halo Infinite free multiplayer. That's a cool precedent that I love to see set. And with some of the disappointment around Halo Infinite, I think around this time last year, right?
Yeah.
That was actually a good move on their part. So I'd like to see other companies do that. I mean, we're seeing more and more battle royale type games, for instance, be free to play and not require any kind of membership to either PlayStation Plus or Xbox Live. So
that's what we need.
Yeah, that's like when Fall Guys was part of PlayStation Plus. That was like the best decision that game could have made, and it flocked so many players to it day one when it released.
Yeah. Fall Guys 2 was shown at E3, wasn't it?
I actually think I might have missed that. Did we get information on that?
I did not see it.
I think we did. I heard about it anyway. Let me look it up real quick.
Are you just making this up? Do you just want this to happen?
No. Somebody was talking. Somebody mentioned it at E3. I think I was watching a Donkey video on E3. But I love Video Game Donkey. He's
the best, dude. His Battlefield 1 experience is one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life.
Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout. Okay, that's what was announced.
Okay, that makes sense. I like that you had mentioned Halo Infinite because for me, the non-Nintendo highlight was the Xbox and Bethesda show, and to give credit to them, like I don't own an Xbox, I don't currently subscribe to Game Pass, but that conference encouraged me that someday when they're finally available, I do want to pick up a Series X and I do want to subscribe to Game Pass, and it's really great that so many of the games that they show off were going to be available day one. And it's like, I want PlayStation to come up with something that's competitive like that. And Nintendo for that matter. Can you imagine if they increased the price or changed Nintendo Switch Online, but it would be, like Zelda and Splatoon and Pikmin and Metroid and all these other games that are coming out, like they would just be available day one. That would be insane. And they're never going to do it. But it's a business model that I'm really growing to enjoy because like I want to just play a bunch of games. I don't want to have to buy tons of games just to see if I'll like them or not. And that's where the beauty of Game Pass really lies.
Yeah, I have a PlayStation Now subscription, but Game Pass is dope. Game Pass is honestly, I think, blows PlayStation Now out of the water, to be completely honest with you, because they've got better games and it's at a better price. And I don't even have an Xbox. And now I'm considering getting a Series S. I was going to get the PS5 first, but I'm honestly considering getting the Series S because they can actually be found right now, and I can convert all my 360 games to digital, and that might be worth it. And with Game Pass. With Xbox and Bethesda, I know they also showed off Forza Horizon 5. That looks beautiful. Not a car
It
game
does.
guy, but that looks actually really phenomenal.
Yeah, Forza has always looked really high quality in their games. Even the earlier games for the Xbox 360, they were just phenomenal.
Psychonauts 2. That's something. I remember playing the original Psychonauts back in the day. That is a fun game. And what else? Fallout 76 is getting an expansion. What's that new game that's coming out? That's like basically Skyrim in space.
What is that called? I'm not sure.
Right? It was like Star something.
Oh, you thinking of a Starfield?
Starfield. That was it. Yeah.
That's it. That was a hugely anticipated game of this year, and it was a big reveal. And of course, with Microsoft just buying up companies left and right, Starfield was a game that was going to be available across many consoles, but is launching as an Xbox exclusive. So I know a lot of PlayStation players were looking forward to that game and are now very upset because they can't play it, which lends us to the problem of console exclusivity, which is something that I've had an issue with for a long time because I don't feel it benefits players. It only benefits companies. And that's why, the more accessible a game is, the more people can play it, the better off it's going to be.
Absolutely.
This is true, but
I wish video. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I wish video game companies would be more considerate. I mean, they wouldn't have anything if it weren't for consumers, the people that like to play video games. So why are they basing their business decisions and tactics off of what would benefit them? I get that it's about the money, but eventually you're going to keep doing the same thing and you'll run out because you're going to lose the interest of the people that you're making games for. It just doesn't make sense.
Well,
and that's Microsoft's strategy for a while now has been they don't really care if you buy an Xbox. They do want you to subscribe to Game Pass. And so that's like where their focus has been.
yeah.
Yep.
That's not a bad focus, though, honestly. I mean, it's working for them. It appeals to both their PC and their console market. When it comes to console exclusivity, I mean, it sucks, but at the same time, it's really the only reason why you would buy one console or another. So without console exclusives, there really is no competition. Because if we cared about the best console and the best specs, I mean, we'd all be playing on PC. Let's be real,
Yep.
Yeah. I hear that argument, and to me, it goes back to that benefits the developer, not the gamer. Personally, like we all love Nintendo, we all love Zelda. I would love to see how Breath of the Wild would run on my PS5, but I will never be able to see that for the way things are set up now.
That is true. Yeah. But not necessarily defending it. Just I mean, that's why though.
Yeah.
And that's why we're not likely to see that change anytime soon. But I think what ticks me off is when you take like an already established series or a company that makes multiple series like Bethesda, and it's now like, okay, to play the next Fallout or the next Elder Scrolls game, you're gonna have to play it only on Xbox. Sorry, PlayStation gamers. Like, that's kind of a kick in the nuts. I totally get that. Maybe they won't though. Maybe they won't with their flagship series just because those are so popular. I mean, Skyrim even got onto the Nintendo Switch, so
it's true.
But yeah.
We'll see where it goes. It'll definitely be an interesting development as these companies kind of navigate future developments.
We also got a spinoff to Borderlands, Tiny Tina's Wonderland. That looks interesting. I'm a huge fan of the Borderlands franchise. I mean, I would like to have played a little bit more of the games, but I've played a little bit of each one, and I was excited about that. I think they even showed some stuff in regards to the new movie coming out, which I'm excited about. It looks like it has an awesome cast so far.
Nice. That kicks ass. The Borderlands has been like another blind spot for me gaming wise, and it's a series that I know I should check out more of. But that's cool that it's getting more support. It's getting that spinoff, and I'm sure there are tons of people out there who love that series who will be super excited for this.
Absolutely.
I
Me
mean, they've
being
got-
one of those people.
And with the movie coming out, I mean, we're going to bring in a lot of people because we've got Kate Blanchett, Kevin Hart, and Jack Black, and Jamie Lee Curtis. So
Amazing.
yeah, that is an excellent cast. I particularly enjoy the Borderlands franchise because a lot of the pop culture references, and they even worked with Telltale and made a game together called Tales from the Borderlands, which was actually really fun. I enjoyed
Cool.
It was very fun. Yes.
Yeah.
Let me think. What else? I think Assassin's Creed Valhalla is getting a new expansion that came day one with Ubisoft. Anything else that y'all were particularly that took your fancy?
No, sir.
Not really, no.
Okay. Yeah, they announced a lot of stuff. I mean, we got a lot of new games, and if we don't cover a game that isn't that a lot of people are looking forward to, that doesn't mean we're not interested and we will be playing it. Death Stranding Director's Cut. Yeah, I remember that actually.
Yeah.
I
I heard on another video game podcast, it's funny how that game was made, like basically that game on its own should have been the director's cut. And so with the amount of creative freedom that the development team had, so the fact that they're now making a director's cut to a game that in theory they had total freedom to make the way they wanted is kind of funny.
I think it's kind of just like an in name only kind of thing. I think it comes from Kojima's background as a cinephile. And so I think, basically this is the version of the game that's coming to PS5. So it's coming along with some enhancements and some new features and maybe throwing in some of the things that development time hindered them from doing, or maybe just new ideas after player feedback. I mean, it's been a little while. Came out, was it last year or the year before?
I think it was a 2019 release. I picked it up last Black Friday. It went on sale for like $20, so I got it on PS4. Have not played it yet, but I intend to. And I've heard so many mixed reviews about it. I'm so excited because I'm going into it. I'm viewing it as a walking simulator, and like that's my only expectation for what this game is going to be. So I'm excited to just see like how weird and bizarre it gets.
People either love it or hate it. It's like you said, it's such a what's the word, polarized game, but I love it. I thought it was so interesting. Kojima's just a fucking weirdo, and he let himself go on full blast. I mean, this is Kojima's first work post Konami, so that's very interesting to see. And I actually enjoyed it quite a bit, but I can imagine someone not liking Death Stranding, so I totally understand if it's not your cup of tea. I kind of see it the same way as like Red Dead Redemption 2. I mean, I think that's a game that's also not going to be everyone's cup of tea. And yet you hear nothing but positive reviews for it. So, but
yeah, definitely a fair point.
I thought about purchasing it at one point, but I stared at it in GameStop for like 10 minutes and I was just like, I couldn't really see myself finishing it, so I didn't want to buy it.
We talked about it back in season 2, I think, and yeah, we had a lot of fun with it. Actually, Dakota and I, Dakota was like really excited about this game, and he played through the whole thing like extremely quickly. So go check out that episode if you haven't listened to it. I guess we can go ahead and talk about what we're all dying to talk about now.
Yep.
So
you already know.
Nintendo. First of all, Metroid Dread is quite possibly the best thing that came out of this E3 conference.
Yeah. It was certainly the most unexpected. I did not think we were going to get any Metroid anything. So the fact that we got an entire new game that had not been previously announced or teased really was a huge deal.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I did not expect to see. Well, I wanted to. I remember I messaged you about it, and you were like, "Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna happen." But is Zachary, you still there?
Yes, I am. Hello.
Okay, just double checking. Yeah, so it's being built as Metroid Prime. It's the first new 2D Metroid game in 19 years. It is the official sequel to Fusion, which is cool because we just talked about Fusion, and we were just talking about the sequel, right?
Yes, we were. Ash, you and I have been having these off sidebar Metroid conversations for the past few months, dude, and it's finally happening. We're finally getting a new Metroid title, and I'll be damned if that is not the best Metroid trailer or presentation for a spooky Nintendo game I have ever seen. Because it's literally called Metroid Dread.
Did you guys watch the Nintendo Treehouse play of it?
Yes, I watched all of it.
It was phenomenal.
It looks so good.
So good. It's very similar to Samus Returns, which I recently finally beat. But logically extending that game and just bringing it over to the Switch, improve graphics, improve mechanics, and some completely new things to the series. I mean, post-fusion, that suit looks so sweet. I love what they've done with the melee counters, with like the dash counter and Samus being able to duck under things. I thought it was interesting that in that entire Treehouse playthrough, she never used the Morph Ball, indicating that maybe you don't get that till quite a bit later in the game, which would be a huge departure since that's usually one of the first, if not the first item that you get, if it's not an item that you have from the beginning.
Yeah, this was really fortuitous timing. I just beat Metroid Prime 3 for the first time like 2 nights ago, literally 2 nights ago from recording this. And so that finishes me with the Metroid Prime trilogy, which I've been slowly like pegging away at over the past few years. I'm definitely going to pick Dread up. I'm nervous about buying it and then not finishing it because that's what happened to me with Samus Returns. But I do want to go back and revisit Samus Returns, and I have intentions of eventually doing like Super Metroid and Metroid Fusion. For me, Metroid is one of the most like mentally demanding games for some reason.
Yes, that's true.
And maybe it's just all of the pickups and all of the backtracking and trying to keep the map straight in your head. It's exhaustive. Zelda or Splatoon or Donkey Kong, like I can play any of those games pretty much nonstop for days at a time. Metroid needs to be very short bursts of like, I'm focused and this is what I'm doing. And then I need to turn my brain off and do something else for a little bit.
Metroid does sometimes like throw in your room with little to no hints on what you need to do. Like sometimes there's just like a hidden switch in the floor. Even Metroid Fusion, which is the most linear game and the one that it is, kind of holds your hand the most out of any game, still has those moments where you have no clue on what to do. So I get that, but I've always said if you like Zelda, you're likely to like Metroid. I can gladly say Metroid is like my favorite video game series of all time. It's right behind Zelda for me. It's like Space Zelda, and maybe the only thing that holds it back are the lack of games, honestly. So returning back to its core and doing another 2D Metroid is exactly the direction I think they need to go in, especially because, I mean, we're still developing Prime 4. I don't think we got really any news about Prime 4, did we?
No, we didn't.
Nope. Not at all. And
didn't they say it's in development, though?
It is in development, yeah.
They did, so that it's not canceled is basically what that said. But yeah, because they restarted from the beginning in January 2019 was when that was announced. So it's really only been in development 2.5 years.
And they scrapped it at one point.
Yeah, I personally, I don't expect that game at the earliest holiday 2022, but 2023 is looking more likely at this point.
Yeah, that I'm not even thinking. I don't even think we'll get Breath of the Wild 2 until next holiday season.
Well,
so if Nintendo's not going to do 2 big releases in 1 year, though, not like Zelda or Metroid. I mean, come on, this is the first Metroid game or first 2D Metroid game of new content in 19 years? You said?
Yeah, 19 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was very impressed by it, and it's coming in October. So, really quick release date. I'm glad that that's coming as soon as it is. Basically, Nintendo a lot of times likes to wait until they actually have something to show, and a lot of times that's right before they release it. They really like to wait until the end, until it's just about ready to be released before they really show anything. Breath of the Wild 2 has gotten that treatment, and I'm glad that you brought that up, because we now do have a release window of 2022. No title yet, but evidently there is a title. They're just choosing purposely not to announce it, to not give away parts of the story. But looks like there's quite a bit of it is already developed, which makes sense because I'm assuming that they're going to reuse a lot of the assets from Breath of the Wild. There's no reason not to. And honestly, that was the second best thing for me, was just that Breath of the Wild 2 trailer, seeing that right there at the end, was perfect, and it was kind of their redemption with that Game and Watch bullshit.
I hate that I already pre-ordered it, and I'm considering canceling it, but I pre-ordered it
You
because
pre-ordered it?
I thought
Okay.
I thought it would look cool on my desk, but I'm slowly going back on that decision because I don't think I really need it.
Yeah, I mean, if that's your thing and you like the Game and Watch thing, you like the alarm clock, that's fine. I just think it was kind of a slap in the face because a lot of us were expecting to see a new Zelda
Mhm.
game for the 35th anniversary. Yes, we're getting Skyward Sword HD, and I'm glad to hear that. And I'm glad that we're getting Breath of the Wild 2 possibly next year. But we were wanting a little bit more. Why not bring one of the already developed Zelda games over to Switch? Do a Link's Awakening style remake of the Oracle games, or port over Twilight Princess HD or Wind Waker HD. That would have been amazing to hear that. Take one of the Zelda games that you can't currently play on Switch and bring it over to Switch in some form or fashion. And that's all that we were looking for, just at least one or two more examples of that. But still excited about Skyward Sword HD, and excited about Breath of the Wild 2 next year. I don't know why they decided to pick the 3 Zelda games that have been ported more than any other Zelda game,
Yeah.
including the one they recently just remade, and they're forcing you to buy this like separate thing to like buy it, which is gonna get bought by scalpers immediately.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. Why wouldn't it?
But I mean, it's cool. But I'm just kind of disappointed because they said something along the lines like, we're not developing any other Zelda games for the Switch, which kind of shuts down anything. I mean, unless they're lying or unless they're being very deliberate with their wording and hinting at something else. That seems very final though. There are
I think-
no,
Well, so the thing that I had commented on the Collateral Gaming Facebook post about that, I feel, I mean, I'm just being hopeful at this point, but they said there's, no campaigns, there's no plan to make like more Switch games. That doesn't rule out them adding like Nintendo 64 to Nintendo Switch Online and
True.
making Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask available. There are other like online options that they could have that what was said by Aonuma during the Nintendo Direct does not directly rule that out. However, I've been a Nintendo fan for 30 years now, and just based historically on what I've seen them do, I don't think we're going to get anything resembling a Zelda collection for a while. I mean, E3 was really the point where they could have at least not announced it, but at least say we'll have more Zelda news later this summer, and they didn't do that. But I'm not going to rule out them in like August announcing a Zelda Direct, like a 20-minute Zelda Direct, and showing off some more stuff there. But only time will tell if they're going to do that.
yeah, just something else would be cool. But hearing that we're going to be getting the sequel to Breath of the Wild next year, and they actually are aiming for that, is good news, though. So maybe that's why there's not anything else if they've got their hands full, and we're getting
Yeah.
Metroid finally. So you really can't
True.
complain. I wanted to address that disappointment, but in no way do I think that Nintendo didn't have a fine presentation. That was really the only disappointment, and they had plenty to redeem themselves with.
Absolutely.
And that's what was funny, because I went in kind of with low expectations. I did not think we were going to get any Metroid and any Zelda, and we got both of those. But then the things, like my lowered expectations of what I did think we might get, include like Splatoon 3 and Bayonetta 3, and we got none of that. So no updates for that. I ruled out any idea of like a Switch Pro a long time ago, even before Nintendo put out that we're just going to focus on software. At this time being, I don't think it's something that's in development personally, despite all the leaks. I'm sure we're going to get something down the road, but I do not expect anything this year or even next year at this point, given everything that's going on.
Leaks, in quotes, rumors more like it. And this would have been the perfect time to do it with the release of the PS5 and the Xbox Series X and S. And so since they're not doing it right now and not announcing it right now, it may not be that those cards are even on the table. And I'm fine with that. I have a Switch already. I have a Switch Lite. I was going to hold out on getting like a full Switch because I do want one to be able to play on the TV until like if they were going to do a Switch Pro. So It would be cool if Nintendo said something kind of definitive about that, I guess. But you said that they announced that they were going to be focusing on software.
Yeah, well, for the E3 presentation specifically, when they scheduled the direct, the press release with it basically said it's going to be about 40 minutes and it's going to be on Nintendo Switch software specifically.
Okay.
So that ruled out any hardware update during E3 anyways. Not to say that we won't get something later this year potentially, but looking at the past decade and a half, Nintendo tends to lag just technologically behind the other competitors 5 to 6 years in terms of power. So given that that like Sony and Microsoft released their first like real 4K capable consoles, really, in my opinion, in 2020, if you want to go back a little bit to like the PS4 Pro, 2017, maybe 2018 when those came out, Nintendo is still several years away from being able to match what those consoles can do.
That's true. That's very true. But with the Switch Pro, I mean, that was really going to be more of a half announcement. I mean, that was going to be very much like the PS4 Pro or Xbox One X or S. So hopefully maybe soon we might hear something about that. If not, it's no skin off my back. I'm not like... It's not like a make it or break it thing. Nintendo can honestly keep doing what they've been doing and be fine.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing too, that they are, I mean, they're a business, they're a company. They want to drive sales and they want to have good quarterly earnings. The Switch is doing amazingly right now. Like, why would you cannibalize a console that is selling so well by investing, R&D funds into another console that may or may not sell as well? I think they're going to ride this Switch tidal wave for as long as they can and keep supporting it with software. Which, like you said, Ash, I'm fine with that. I love my Switch. There's so many great both first-party games and a lot of really great indie games on there that make it just a really well-valued console that I enjoy. I know we hit two of the the biggest announcements from the Nintendo Direct. Was there anything else that Nintendo announced that really stuck out to you guys? Like any of the indie games maybe, or anything that got you excited?
Mario Party Superstars looks pretty cool. I mean, I've played a lot of the Mario Party games, and so seems to be kind of more of a collection of some of the stuff from the previous games, I think, right? But not a mini game collection. Like they're actually taking boards and stuff.
Yeah, I wish they. I kind of wanted them to just like port a bunch of the old Mario Party games and just have them available, but having the boards and the mini games is pretty cool. And it's been a while since I've just like played Mario Party with friends, so that's something that I would love to do.
Yeah, WarioWare. The return of WarioWare. I never really played those games, but I know of them. So seeing that come to Switch is cool, and it is going to be co-op. That's exciting. Another non-Nintendo game I totally forgot about, and I can't believe I did because this actually super excited me. Guardians of the Galaxy. From Square Enix, who did the Avengers game, which I actually liked.
I'm playing through Avengers right now, and I agree. I mean, I like it. I think it's a pretty well done. Guardians of the Galaxy. So small disclaimer on this one: it is currently looks to be like it's going to be available as a cloud service game. So you will be streaming it and not purchasing it directly for your Switch. But no, that game looks cool. I mean, I'm interested in checking that out. The biggest highlight for Guardians of the Galaxy for me was the writing and the dialogue. Like, it was so well represented for those characters.
Yeah.
And that's something that you need, because like if Star-Lord doesn't sound like Star-Lord and isn't giving you Star-Lord dialogue, the game is not gonna work well at all. And this is definitely the strong point from what we've seen so far.
I mean, let's face it, if he's not like the Chris Pratt version, at least even remotely. And I thought that the Avengers game did a good job of their characters being definitely heavily inspired by the MCU, but being their own versions of the character. And that looks to be the direction they're going with the Guardians of the Galaxy as well. The designs are definitely reminiscent of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but it's its own thing, and I like that. I thought that all the characters kind of did seem to resemble their movie counterparts. And I think gonna enjoy that game. I mean, if it turns out to be good, hopefully it is. I believe it's actually single player, right?
Looks to be, yeah.
But yeah, that was a pretty cool announcement. And kind of ballsy on their part, because Square Enix actually really got derided for the Avengers game, and I don't know why. I thought it was fine. I mean, it's not like a masterpiece or anything, but it's a good superhero game.
And none of the heroes actually look like the actors. They created their own designs to it and everything. I mean,
Yeah.
they resemble them in a way, but I mean, the actors that we know today basically set the tone for the legacy that Stan Lee left behind. So I don't like that decision. I thought the Avengers game was great. Sorry, I haven't chimed in a while. I've just kind of been mesmerized by the conversation that was happening. I was just kind of watching you guys talk for a second. Then I realized I was like, oh, I'm on this too. Sweet.
You flatter us.
I'll flatten you. Just kidding.
Oh. Okay. Gonna step on me like your tall vampire wife.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Dude, don't even get me going.
Man, Zach, I know I mean, we're all huge Nintendo fans, obviously, but apart from, the sequel to Breath of the Wild, were there other like highlights for you that really stuck out here, or was Zelda the big one that you were really excited for?
Honestly, okay, I'm going to be dead honest here. Ash knows how much I love Breath of the Wild, and at this point, you probably do too. But actually, I knew that there was going to be something involving Breath of the Wild. I had no idea that Dread was coming. So, honestly, Dread is the biggest event of E3 for the past 5 years for me. I can't. Well,
Wow.
No. 3 years. Sorry. When Breath of the Wild came out, I lost my mind. When March 3rd, 2017 came up on the screen in Hylian letters or Legend of Zelda letters, I freaked out and lost my mind. But Metroid Dread was the penultimate for me, and the ultimate will be when I get to play it. So that's the only thing I really cared about aside from Battlefield. And I mean, Breath of the Wild 2, it's going to be a masterpiece. It looks amazing. It looks like it's going to trump Breath of the Wild 1, and that's one of the greatest games ever. But we haven't had a new 2D Metroid in 19 years. And Fusion was the first game the first Game Boy game and Metroid game I ever played. And now, 19 years later, No. What is it? 21 years later? Because Zero Mission still counts as a fresh 2D game, right?
No,
I think so.
No,
I'm not sure.
No, it counts as a remake because they also didn't count Samus Returns.
Yeah. Okay. So 19 years since Fusion, and and it's just incredible to think about it. I'm 24 at this point. I had to think about my age. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. And it looks...
It's weird to think when just the history of these games, like Zelda and Mario and Metroid for that matter, have been coming out since before I was born.
Yes.
And these legacies, it's like I love them so much, but they predate me at this point. And it's so funny how they're still hitting their stride and releasing these incredible games.
Absolutely.
They're still incredible. They haven't tired out the franchise because they managed to make each title feel different.
Well, and they're not releasing a game every other year. I mean, the part of the reason the magic is so intense with Zelda and with Metroid is because these games come out every 4 or 5 years. It's a grand slam from a company that knows that it's going to sell big because they're beautifully created titles. And who cares if their software isn't up to date with Microsoft and Sony and people that create parts for PCs? I mean, think about it.
They make a quality game whenever they come.
Oh, yeah.
But it feels like games. Games nowadays are coming out to feel more associated with like real life, I feel, as though they're not as imaginative. They're not as deep. And I know most games aren't equivalent to real life. I'm just saying they're more realistic than what some of the older titles, the stuff that got us hooked on video games is. Because when Nintendo creates a game, they're not focused on multiplayer. They're not, unless it's Mario Kart. They're not or Super Smash Bros. They're focused on a genuine in-depth game experience. And you take time and effort and teamwork to create something like that, because Breath of the Wild, man, that game is massive, and that game took what, 6 years to develop?
Something like
Just
that.
about.
It got delayed a couple times too.
It did. That was going to be a 2015 release initially. And that's so you guys mentioned earlier how you like Nintendo kind of getting close to the finish line and then announcing a game and then having it be available like Metroid Dread. I want them, my dream, they would never do this for a number of reasons, but I wanted them with Breath of the Wild, the sequel, to show like a trailer and then be like, and it's available right now on Nintendo eShop.
Dude, if I would have had a heart attack. I would have called my boss and I would have said, dude, you've got to get, I'm dying. You got to let me go home.
Surprise!
Right.
They do get a chance to do that somewhat with some of the spinoffs. I almost forgot to mention the Age of Calamity. I mean, they did announce a while back with that Nintendo Direct that was a few months ago that they were gonna do the DLC, and I almost lost my mind because Age of Calamity was fantastic. It was good to find out exactly what was going to be coming in that DLC expansion, which was funny because it was coming out in like a few days and we still had no details on specifically what it was going to entail. But a new weapon for Link. Zelda, oddly, is the one getting the Master Cycle Zero, but whatever, I'm cool with it. And then the new Guardian character, so that's fun. And we're getting another DLC expansion in November, I think. So you can actually play that now. I haven't played it yet because I've been working, but I would like to pull out my Switch and check out that new DLC because I loved Age of Calamity. And Zach, you mentioned Smash. Speaking of Super Smash Brothers, we did actually get a new character announced, of course. They're still adding more. I believe this is the penultimate character reveal that we're getting for Smash. So I think there's just one more after this, but we finally got a collaboration with the Tekken franchise, which I'm not as familiar with, but they added Kazuya, showing him dump Ganondorf and Captain Falcon and a few other Smash Brothers very darkly into a volcano.
Well, to be honest, I didn't pay attention to the Smash release. I'm glad they're still adding on to that game, but I think my Smash days are over. I haven't played Smash Brothers in a very long time, and I have no interest to play it at any point. And I apologize if that offends anybody, but...
Thought I knew you, man.
His Smash days are over.
Also, we've talked like once, so...
I mean, yeah, well, after we finish recording this, I can give you my stuff. We can start communicating more. That way we can, like, do more stuff. Because I would love to create more content, just in general, both for this channel and both for your creative purposes, Dan. Just, I want to experience making content with friends. I haven't really... Ash and I have been doing this for almost half a year now. No, longer than that. It's been 8 months, dude.
Yeah.
Roughly.
We started at the end of last season, started working together. And we've got we're approaching the end of this season now, but before we reveal what's coming up soon with Collateral Gaming, any final thoughts about E3 2021 overall? What did you guys think?
I thought it was Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dan.
I was just going to say, I thought it was both really exciting and disappointing at the same time, which a lot of, that's pretty much on par for E3. I am a little nervous what it's going to look like moving forward because I think so many companies have seen that they can do Nintendo Directs and State of Plays and their own presentations anytime they want without being tied to an E3. That being said, I've never been to the show floor and it's my dream, and I want them to be in person next year so I can hopefully go and hopefully do some coverage for some of the sites that I've been working for. So that's the dream, and I'm putting it out there. So please, E3, go at least one more year so I can go and experience it and see like the Nintendo booth in person, because it's always really like intricate and well done. So this year with it being digital was a different experience, but I like that we got some cool stuff to really look forward to, and we got some release dates. I mean, Metroid Dread this October. I can't wait to get that game and just like Halloween time, just like get up under a blanket and like play that game and just, be really spooked and creeped out. And I've been thinking that horror is the perfect genre for Metroid for a while now. And so this is going to be cool. And I'm hoping Metroid Prime 4 will take some of the same beats of it being like a spookier, like scarier type of game.
If you like the horror aspect, I definitely recommend playing Fusion, and then listen to our episode on it.
Yes, we went into deep dark detail. It was wonderful.
Fusion actually is one of the games that has some of the best horror atmosphere, and then actually, its linear nature is actually what makes that game kind of tick. And then we definitely have a lot to say about that in our episode. I'd also recommend it because this is going to be the sequel to Fusion, so you should probably play Metroid Fusion first, finish Samus Returns before this October.
Man, that's so much.
Well,
I'll do my best.
You can play through Fusion in like 3 days. Seriously, it's not long.
Cool.
But I did. In fact, I played it like 3 times over before we did our episode on it. So
Nice.
Any final thoughts for you, Zach?
I'm all good, man. We kind of hit all the bases. I'm really looking forward to Dread. I can't wait for Skyward Sword HD to come out next month.
Yes.
Very, very close among us, and it's beautiful. I used to be like, damn, that's like 4 or 5 months away. Now it's fun. So it's kind of nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, it's coming out next month, and we're going to be talking about that, by the way. Just putting that out there. We're going to be doing a game launch episode on Skyward Sword HD. Also, next week, we'll be releasing our episode, part 2 on Dead Space, and we're actually going to be talking about Dead Space 2. That was kind of a last-minute decision, but I decided since we're doing a 2-part episode, let's just group them together and let's talk about both games. And I have almost finished it, so I'm excited to talk about it. I think it's an improvement over the original in almost every way, and I had a lot of fun with the original, so that's saying something. After that, we're going to be getting into our first bad game review of the season. We're going to be talking about Sonic 06.
Yeah, bro.
Nice.
Yeah, Sonic 06, and then when we get Skyward Sword HD, we're going to be talking about that, and we are approaching our season finale very soon. Want to sort of get wrapped up by September, hopefully, and take a month off or so, and then we're coming back in full force in October. So, and we're already talking about what's going to be happening with season 4. It is going to be. I'm excited. I'm going to tell you. I don't want to tell you guys anything more yet. And if you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. You can also leave us feedback on your platform of choice. You can find Collateral Gaming wherever you get your podcasts. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Google Podcasts, etc. If you love Collateral Gaming and you also love movies, check out Collateral Cinema, our sister podcast. We are going to be talking about Star Trek Beyond. And by the time this is out, very soon, I think we should have our episode out on Hooper, which we just recorded the other day. So that's going to be fun. Also, very soon, we're going to be coming out with some more patron content. I'm really excited to bring that up. And in addition to that being to patron content being on our Patreon and on YouTube, I would like to extend that out to the Apple Podcast Premium subscriptions if I can find a way to do that, since it's because I mean our Let's Plays don't really work as audio only, but I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, guys, thanks for listening. It was a fun E3. I had a blast. There were definitely ups and downs, and I think everything just about intrigued me in some way or another.
Couldn't agree more, brother.
Same here. Absolutely.
Hell yeah. But yeah, thanks for being on, Dan. It was great having you again, and can't wait to have you on another episode. Maybe Skyward Sword HD.
Yeah, I would love that. That comes out incidentally the weekend of my bachelor party, so I'm going to pick it up in the morning that weekend and try not to ignore my friends to just play it all weekend, but I will have it. So I'm excited for that. And thanks for having me on again. This is one of my favorite things to do. I am so lucky to be able to just talk about video games with cool people. Like, that's like the best thing. And it's something that I was looking forward to all week when we talked about doing the E3 episode. So thank you again. And I'm always happy to come back anytime.
Dude, it's always a blast having you. It's nice to talk to people about video games, but it's nice to talk to really nice people, encouraging people that not only have a fair knowledge of what we're discussing, but are also respectful enough to just have a wonderful conversation without anything like getting in the middle of it. And that's hard to find nowadays. A lot of people get offended really easily. And I mean, we like to crack jokes, we like to have fun, but it's nice to sit and just relax with cool dudes and chat about pretty awesome stuff that's coming up in the next year. We're definitely going to have you on again very soon, like the next time we do this. Oh, I'm just kidding.
Amazing. That sounds great.
I mean, yeah, come on, dude.
and I think E3 episodes is probably going to be a mainstay. I wanted to do it last season, and we just kind of missed our opportunity to. Or actually, no, there wasn't an E3. It was the season before that. Yeah, so super fun. Not really much else to say, guys, but I'm Ashley Chancellor.
I'm Zachary Gio.
We are.
And I'm Dan Rockwood.
Oh,
sorry.
You know what?
Stepped on you there.
No, I stepped over you. Let's just do that over again. That being said, I'm Smashley Pantsler.
I'm Jackery Brio.
And I'm Dan Rockwood.
Ren Dockwood.
Yeah. Ren Rockwood.
Ren Rockwood?
Raggy?
God, makes my name sound even more like a video game name than it already is.
Okay, guys. Well, much love to all of you guys. We appreciate you have come in and listen to us ramble on. So, yeah.
We are Collateral Gaming, and we are out.
Out!
Collateral Gaming is a Collateral Media podcast. All music and game clips are owned by their respective creators and are used for educational purposes only. Please don't sue us. We're poor.